KHAMZAT CHIMAEV taking on DDP. 5 seconds into the fight, he does his first shot. KHAMZAT wanted to be on the ground. He wanted nothing to do with stand-up, which I don't blame him because he was so dominant on the ground and DDP didn't have an answer for it. I think his stand-up can be very good, but I think he invests way more into the grappling aspect of it because he's able to control and not take as much shots. He looks for this all day, every day. If he's in trouble, if he's winning, he's looking for this. He's got to get his hips back and come over top of this. That's how you beat somebody who's gung-ho at wrestling. Yeah, that's the last time I ever be hyped for a KHAMZAT CHIMAEV fight. All the talk of being a badass and crazy energy on fight week, just a wet blanket and juice, and that's finished. What's going on, boys? Welcome back to the channel. We have a void to break down. KHAMZAT CHIMAEV taking on DDP. KHAMZAT CHIMAEV beat DDP 50-45 and 50-44 on one judge's scorecard. We're breaking down all these positions that he was able to utilize when he was taking on DDP. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, and also hit the bell to know when we go live. Okay, so the producer put these stills together, and I'm gonna walk you guys through some of the positions that a lot of the fans didn't really like. But before we do that, can we take a moment to... Damn, this guy's beer game though. Holy shiza. He's beating DDP. Amazing beer game. Look at the hang time on that as well. Blood head's looking nice and clean. Okay, let's get back on track. Sorry, I had to. First thing that caught my eye. All right, so we have some young champions here. So, you know, it's really weird. I felt KHAMZAT was way taller than DDP. 183, 185, 75 to 76. I mean, everything's pretty much identical, maybe a couple of inches or a couple of pounds off, but you know, he's undefeated. 31, 62, 61, 185, 183, 75 to 76. Pretty much identical, right? There's not really a huge discrepancy between the two of them. But it felt like he was way taller than DDP. Maybe it could just be the angle of the camera or when they're fighting. Because when you got that crucifix, it just looked like a long body laying on top. And there's DDP. Excuse me. There's KHAMZAT CHIMAEV getting ready to do his thing. And boys, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. You guys gonna know this video is sponsored by Crucifix. Crucifix is a daily fantasy sports game we play directly from your phone. It's very simple. Go to your app store, download Crucifix, and we do that. Use my promo code MIGHTY. Cool promotion going on right now. All you gotta do is play $5. You get $50 instantly in your lineup. $50 instantly. Use code MIGHTY. We made out pretty damn well. This one was my pick. This was Mike's pick. Like I've page, he's very strategic about how he fights. He's not a high volume guy, so with 53.5 significant strikes. KHAMZAT CHIMAEV, he does not like to fight on the feet. He likes to grapple, so he doesn't really do a whole lot of, he's not very high volume as well. And then Aaron Pico, I felt Lerone Murphy was going to be athletic enough to stop the takedowns, but he was able to secure 2. And then we won $1,200 on that. And then Michael Wanzover hit the, I don't know how to say this guy, but Surkov fight went into the second round, and then Jeff Neal landed less significant strikes, and then Aaron Pico didn't land. So boys, lock in your picks at the right place, which is Crucifix, to get the green. Shout out to Crucifix for sponsoring this video. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I didn't think this fight was gonna happen because he's had a lot of cancellations and not being able to make all of his bookings due to, you know, whether it's gonna be in the States or if he's healthy or gone out of the fight. All right, so right off the rip, we knew this was going to happen. 4:55. 5 seconds into the fight, he does his first shot. And this is why he was able to succeed with a takedown. Look at the posture of DDP. He's on one foot, knees up. You know, he's behind the curb already when it comes to sprawling and sprawling. He's up. All he has to do now, all KHAMZAT has to do is basically turn his head this way, block instead of the hip, block the knee, and you got to take down. Because he's not in a position. His hips aren't in a position to be able to fight and fire off. But the biggest thing to know is this right here. 5 seconds in the fight, he freaking shoots. And just look, he's not in a position to, and he's on one foot. All right? He's not sturdy, ready to combat wrestle it. And KHAMZAT gets a takedown, right? He does a good job of posting here, But the real kicker is right here. So one of the things you would like to do is when you're going for this guillotine, you're not really going to make that because his head is already on the opposite side, right? So that's good. His head's on the opposite side. So this is good for KHAMZAT. What you want to do is you want to post on his head. You want to post here and post on his head to push his head down. That way his head is in between in your stomach, right? That way you could post him. And in order for him to be able to climb up the ladder, he has to let go of his hands. When he let go of his hands, his feet can be able to move. But the fact that he has his hand wrapped around KHAMZAT's neck and KHAMZAT's knees are on the opposite side of his head, it's a free guard pass. Every single time. Free guard pass. So that's why the better choice to make here is hand on the head, stuffing it. All right. So right here, once again, it's a free guard pass because even if DDP, his knees are here, his foot's here. In order for this choke to work, DDP has to get this leg wrapped around KHAMZAT and this leg, get him in the guard and be able to choke him. But since his head is on the opposite side of his feet, he can't choke him out. There's no matter what he can do, he cannot choke him. So DDP can get himself choked out with the Bomb Blue choke if he gets him close because he's like this on his shoulder, but there's no way. So you're better off letting go of this choke and start to frame and get your frames ready to go. Now, if DDP gets his leg out here and keeps these legs elevated and he brings his butt out this way, then yes, he can come on top of KHAMZAT Chimaev because he has no post. Like there's no post here, there's no post here. But once he starts scooting his butt out, this post comes available, this post comes available, and then he's got to be, then he can work his way around and keep it on the opposite side of his head. But typically, the head on the opposite side of your feet, it's a free guard pass. Good jiu-jitsu players will give you the guillotine just so they can pass your guard, right? And here is the story of the fight right here. So let me pause right here. So once you get here in the crucifix, this arm is pretty much shot, right? The one arm that's not shot is this. You start to frame either on the shoulder here or on the neck. You start to frame like this while this one's trapped. You start framing like this. Now, when you do that, yes, he could go arm triangle, right? He could go arm triangle, push it right here. Then he's got you. Then he can submit you, right? So that's why typically you have to teeter back and forth. It's basically this. It's an infinity. You go here, you post, you go back, you're here. You're basically stuck in this loop until you're able to break free. But this arm needs to start framing, and when it frames, it needs to be able to frame so he can't get caught in an arm triangle. Because this arm is pretty much fucked. He's got to pull this arm all the way back from these long ass legs, and that's very, very hard to do. Because right there, right, and this position, and right here, once again, like I said, that arm is keeping KHAMZAT down so he can't posture. This arm is better suited to be able to frame on the neck or this arm. But if he does that, then he could be risk for a arm triangle. But the fact that KHAMZAT was able to lock this, I mean, DDP's hold him like this. So once he's doing that, there's nothing you can really do. So KHAMZAT realizes it and he goes, I'm just going to grab this arm and pin it down. And he's stuck in his position. Now, one thing he can do is face his hips this way, the front of his hip that way, and scoot that way in order to bring this knee in for a frame. Very hard to do, but those are options you can do in that position. But this is pretty much a checkmate move. And once again, let's look at another thing that's important. 4:08, not even a minute into the fight, and he's in a dominant crucifix position. Right here. See, and right now, this hand comes out. It has to start framing here. It's a double-edged sword. You either keep your hand over here or you start framing. And then once you frame, then you can scoot your butt out, right? You frame, you start scooting your butt out, and then you can start using this hand to bend it and start pushing on his hip this way, right? But this was the kicker. You got to use his arm to frame. But when you frame, he can do arm triangle. But it's better than stuck there. Like I said, it's the infinity. You have to keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Small inches, right? Trying to move a mile is going to take a lot of effort. But if you try to move like this, if you start moving like this, boop, 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 boop. Eventually, A to whatever the fuck this is, Z, eventually you're going to get there. But trying to go from A to jump all the way to Z is a lot harder. That's the big motions. But going, okay, here, 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 turn, here. Eventually you're going to get out. And when you're doing this, KHAMZAT is going to be shifting his weight the whole entire time. And you're hoping when he shifts the weight the wrong way, you'll be able to get out. So, but the key is framing and then scooting, framing and scooting in your hips. And it looks like his hips, his feet are on the ground. His feet are in the air, so they're flailing. Continue. Okay, and then there's the grimace from DDP. Obviously, most of the shots that he landed from this position were not elbow. It was just straight punches, like little punches. Now right here, once again, let's take a look. He's up high. That's DDP's hand. He's trying to get the choke off. The cage is basically, can't push him that way. But DDP is doing a good job bridging the hips up. Good job there. Trying to find a little space out of here. But KHAMZAT's doing a good job of controlling this post, so he can't really turn. It keeps him there. I don't know what round that part was, but it looks like maybe round maybe 2 or 3. Orlando Bloom, Legolas. Okay. Now, when DDP did get to his feet, he did throw some high kicks. He did throw some strikes that are pretty good. Great choice. I mean, when you're fighting, you got to throw some shots out there. But here he is throwing jab hookish. Once again, here's KHAMZAT shooting once again outside the void. Like, KHAMZAT wanted to be on the ground. He wanted nothing to do with stand-up, which I don't blame him because he was so dominant on the ground and DDP didn't have an answer for it. Right here. Once again. This is a better choice, to be honest with you. Legs are connected. This is a better choice for DDP. Push down on the head. Because once they land, he extends his head away. In order for KHAMZAT Chimaev to climb the tree, he has to unclasp his hands. He has to unclasp his hands. When you unclasp his hands, you're pushing the head down, and it gives you a chance to scoot your knees with it. But we also have to put in the factor that the cage is there as well. So DDP really can't scoot that way. He would have to scoot either his head's on that side. I would scoot this way, not that way because you're going into his head. Wrong. Scoot that way. Right here. Once again, just trying to get those knees out. You see what I mean? So in order for him to climb up, you push the head down, he has to unclasp his hands. He has to. When he unclasps his hands, one knee comes out, and then he has a better chance of fighting. But he was so gung-ho of just wrestling. Just wrestling. I'm not the biggest fan of a wizard because you're keeping him close to your body. So you can use a wizard to pull him up, but I'm not the biggest fan of wizards now in my career. Okay, the body lock. Okay, once again, pure wrestling. Right, taking him down. He's doing a good job getting the hands ready to fight this. But, dude, like, he was just wrestling the whole entire time. And he's airborne too, so his weight, he can't get any weight on those hands. So because he's airborne, he can't sag down. I mean, it was just a wrestling clinic. Like, how to out wrestle a champion was the best way to put it. I want to say out grapple, just out wrestle. And right here, right? So the one thing he can do here, you're going down, right? His posture is better than KHAMZAT because his head's higher. Once he lands, you do a switch. You go pop, you do a switch. It's a very classic move you do in wrestling. Only way he can combat the switch is if KHAMZAT head becomes higher than DDP's. If it does, then he can do a suck back. And from that orientation, it's always gonna be changing. But usually going down like this and his head's lower than yours, you wanna do a switch. Turn his knee in and do a switch and grab underneath the thigh. Like I said, it was a very, and this is basic, you know, I don't think he has 2-on-1. I think he has a body lock. It's a basic wrestling position that you get taken down and you can do it. And sometimes what you see grapplers do too is when they hit the ground, they're a very good grappler, they'll switch their hips and come on top and be on mount. Like Ty and Cade Rotolo do that all the time when they get taken down. They just switch their hips in midair and come on top. Right here. And this is where I mean the switch, right? And that's what I mean by he was basically wrestling, because this is like a sit out, right? You want to sit his hips this way, reach his hand down there underneath KHAMZAT to do a switch. And then KHAMZAT's going to grab this hand, this post, to do a dump. Right here. See? And this is what I mean. You switch the hips. Because you look at, even though he's being drugged down, look at KHAMZAT Chimaev's. KHAMZAT Chimaev has no post right now. Right? A table needs 3 legs or 4 legs to stand, right? So here's his, he has only 2 posts. So does DDP. DDP's post. KHAMZAT's post. Okay? His posts are free. His are not. So he has no post right now. If DDP was to have more athletic ability in his hips, you bring this leg out, swing this leg over, he's on mount of KHAMZAT, because KHAMZAT's hands are locked. So he has no post. He's like this. His legs are like this. So if I'm gonna show you guys a real quick video if I can, real quick. Show you what I mean by this. It was Cade Rotolo. Cade Rotolo. But you have to be super athletic. Super athletic. Grappling. Like you gotta like when you grapple enough, you understand when people have posts and they don't have posts. Him and his brother did it the same night. Can't remember who it was against. Was it Lanker? Might have been Lankley. Let me see. Actually, it was Ty Rotolo who did it. Ty Rotolo. I think it might be in this guy. I don't think it's this guy. Hang on. Championship. Oh, not him. No. Here it is, right here. Okay, right here. Boom. All right, I'm gonna show you guys this real quick. So it's erase all this. So this guy has his arms locked around Ty Rotolo, right? Boom. His arms are locked. So his only 2 posts are right here and here. His arms are locked, so he has no post there, right? Ty has a post here. He has that post, and he also has that post, right? He's going for the switch. So this guy has no post over here. This is the pull you're going to throw him in. Watch what Ty Rotolo does, okay? Now, it's the same image we have here, but just different orientation. Watch what Ty does, because his hips are so good. Wow. He took him where he had no post. Throws him, boom, bop. So you have to have good hips in order to do that. So right here, what I'm getting at is that he has no post here, right? His hands are clasped. When somebody's hands are clasped, they've taken away their post on their upper body, right? So once again, his hands are clasped. Even though DDP's going that way, he's got to get his hips back and come over the top of this. That's how you beat somebody who's gung-ho of wrestling. You have to out-switch their hips, especially when his posture, this is shit posture right here. That's horrible posture right here. Horrible. But he's so good at it that he can't switch his hips. And DDP isn't the most athletic guy. Okay, so right here, this is one of the things he kept on doing. He will get here. He will put this hook in and take it out. Hook in. It'll be in. It'll be out. This is KHAMZAT's strong base. This is his home base. Home base. Right here. This position right here. He's going for the neck crank. I'm going to get it because he's got his hands underneath her. Yeah. DDP wasn't in danger there. He wasn't worried. Okay. There's that hook in again. Going for another neck crank. This is a strong position that KHAMZAT loves to stay in. Okay, and then when DDP was on the feet, he did have some good shots that he was able to throw in there and whatnot. But KHAMZAT was just too gung-ho about going underneath every single time. Right? Him trying, you got to get the heart for DDP, trying everything he can to keep the fight on his feet. KHAMZAT threw a high kick, but this is all show because we all know he wants to go here. But beautiful high kick. I think his stand-up could be very good, but I think he invests way more into the grappling aspect of it because he's able to control and not take as much shots. Another kick. And I was very shocked that this was the option of choice that he used to fight on his feet, because all he has to do is grab that once and then they're right back on the ground. High kick lands, but not enough. Lands in the jaw. And throwing a knee, trying to throw a knee to land something on KHAMZAT because we know KHAMZAT's going to shoot, but it looks like it's a knee that he's trying to throw on the chest. Once again, wrestling. He's got that body lock. That wizard's here. This is a good time wizard, but you want to have this leg inside here so you can Uchimata him. Because once again, KHAMZAT has no post. There's no post here whatsoever. Right? If you throw KHAMZAT here, he has to either, two options. He has to let go, or he lets go and he posts, or he stays there and gets thrown. So if anybody, like when you look at KHAMZAT fights, you have to think, okay, KHAMZAT's going to get the body lock. When he gets the body lock, he has no post on top. If he has no post, we have a post. We got to throw him where he has no post. We throw him where he has no post. He's going to post. You get off the body lock. If he doesn't post, we sweep him. That's what you have to do. Granted, he's going to be strong like a fucking bull right here because he's squeezing everything he has. All right, here we go. This is the position I wanted to talk about. Okay. So this position is another home base for KHAMZAT. He lays here. When you start moving, he brings this knee right here to block you right here. These punches are coming up, right? I call it milk on the cow because if there's a cow here, right? There's a teat and another teat. KHAMZAT does this. He milks, right? Let me just get the fucking cow here. Moo. Moo. legs. Okay. So he's basically milking the cow because there's no you can't really, you can get some good shots here, but they're like this. And then once DDP starts getting up, He brings his knee here, blocks his hips from getting up, rides heavy, gets his weight back on his hands, and continues to milk the cow. Right? There's no submission from here. There's no seatbelt where you're trying to take his hips. There's nothing here. So that's why I call it milking the cow, because you're just milking this position. You're in home base. You're very strong here. So only thing DDP can do here is get his hands, posture up, which he's got to get his head up, start fighting the hands, and be able to right here. Boom. Gets up. But see what I mean? Watch the sequence. Okay. Watch the sequence. Stands up. Great. Hands are tied. Brings over. Because look, he's ready to pull him down. Right? He's ready to be pulled him down. It's the 5th round. He's always pulling him down. Right? He falls down. Pulling him down. Boom, right here. Right there. And look, he's going to be looking for... Look, he's looking to grab. Right there. That's how you beat KHAMZAT right there. Right there. He looks for this. All day, every day. If he's in trouble, if he's winning, he's looking for this. So, but once again, he has no post here or here because the hands are class. He has his post here, and post here. That's how you beat KHAMZAT. You force a grappling exchange. Once he starts taking you down, you try to throw him where he has no post. Based on this fight, if me and Matt were to watch this, this is exactly what Matt would say. Matt would say, once he locks his hand, DJ, you got to throw him where he has no post. He's going to open his hands to post. Once he grabs the post, he come back, you need him to deliver. He's going to re-grab the post. You sag down. You hit. That's how you beat him. If I was the game plan against him. Right? But once again, boom, look right here. Who's this? Look again. There's no post. His arms are locked. No post. Even though DDP has no post, this hand is not locked. So it's considered a post because it's not locked. He has that leg in there. You can throw him on here. That's how you beat him. I just gave you guys a blueprint. You're very welcome. But you have to be ready to get in this position and be able to fight in this position. And there, I think that's a mount right there. Right here. And there's DDP getting the body triangle, he knew he was down on all 5 cards. All 5 rounds. He knew he was down, and he was like, I need to finish. And he was going for the finish. There's a neck crank with a body triangle. Not body triangle, but he's going for the neck crank. Does get it. It's only 25 seconds left. You know, I think if DDP had an answer, if DDP had the wrestling ability of Kamaru Usman, I think this might have been a different fight. I truly believe so. Because you got to be able to stop his grappling. If you can't stop his wrestling, not especially the grappling, if you can't stop the wrestling, you're not going to be able to beat KHAMZAT. Because his wrestling, it's more wrestling instead of grappling. And what makes me feel comfortable saying that is because this position... Where are you? Well, the one where he's milking the cow. All right, here we go. Total strikes, 567. Only 37 of them were significant strikes. Okay. 17 takedown tips, he landed 12. DDP threw 1, he landed 1. Landed 13 significant strikes. Absolutely crazy. 4450, 4450, 44. All of them have 4450. I thought 1% had 4550. Wow. Boars, what's that nickname? All right, here we go. Yeah, that's the last time I ever be hyped for a KHAMZAT Chimaev fight. All the talk of being a badass and crazy energy on fight week, just a wet blanket to choose to not finish, so as not to allow space for a scramble. Pathetic non-warrior. Sucks to see. I understand, Gurus. Like, that's the cool thing about this sport is that you can either watch it or not. The takedown, I mean, he will do the same thing to Nate Diaz. Take Nate Diaz down all day, every day. And like I said, if you don't want to watch Khamzat Chimaev, you can watch somebody else fight. There's nothing wrong with that. Soon will be on Paramount Plus. You got to pay $10, $80. Nate Diaz can't fight. Nate. Now, RDR versus Khamzat Chimaev. That'd be a great fight. I think RDR has the physicality. He's big. He's a big boy. And I think he has great grappling ability to be able to combat Khamzat Chimaev. So that'll be a great fight. That's a great option. We just got to see, you know, when they're going to give him. I would love to see RDR get the opportunity. Come from one championship. He's had a lot of great fights, fought a lot of great guys, and I think he has ability. And there's Khamzat Chimaev, and there's Arman Tsarukyan. You know, Arman Tsarukyan kind of has the same style like a Khamzat, but I think Arman Tsarukyan is more gung-ho about transitioning and doing more jiu-jitsu. I haven't seen him fight in a long time, but, you know, I think his style is a little bit more aggressive than Khamzat. And, you know, there's Khamzat with his good friend Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan, I like his style. He's very, very good. And there's champion Khamzat Chimaev. We'll see what's next for him. And I hope he enjoys it. He worked hard. It was a great performance. A lot of people didn't like it, but at the end of the day, it's about winning, not getting beat up. So boys, if you guys enjoyed this breakdown, please leave a like, subscribe, and also hit the bell to go live. And think about this position now. Like, if any of you guys who fight and train, have your opponent, have your teammate come in the gym and have him get bite lock and focus on where his post is and where it's not, right? This one's gonna be a hard, well, yeah, focus on where his post is. Think about that, all right? We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.